Looks like we are going live now on Instagram. Welcome back. We will have Colombian immigration lawyer Daniel Luque on the call. Uh, what's up, Daniel? So for everybody on TikTok, just to give you a heads up, we have a Colombian lawyer discussing some immigration opportunities for people to come to Colombia if you guys are interested in it. I know that a lot of people, if you're new here, we've been doing a number of different series in what life is like here in Colombia. I'm talking to TikTok here. We've got Instagram here. We're really excited to be able to bring you the real live experts and how to get here if it's been on your radar. I know the election, people have been reaching out, and I've talked to all my friends and the expat communities around the world, and they have all been inundated with calls and messages on, what's the plan? So us at Move Travel Colombia, we decided to make certain that you guys have the opportunity not only to learn a little bit more from experts on how to move, but realistically give you guys opportunity to do some Q&A, ask some questions. So please share this with your friends. Everybody on TikTok, you guys won't be able to see, but you will be able to hear Daniel. So I'll be looking at both just to make sure with the questions and comments and things that you may have. Let me go ahead and bring Daniel on. Let's try that again.
Roger, can you
Perfect.
hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing?
Great, great, great. Thanks, man. Thanks for this invitation.
No, for certain, for certain. I told you Wednesday, my phone like almost like blew up. Like it was so many people that were commenting, questioning. I heard from people I haven't heard from in almost 10 years about the election results and what options we have to be able to move. Because realistically, a lot of people, Daniel, we're very concerned and we're thinking things are going to go different. And there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions. I know how that goes, but there's a lot of people that are very, very serious about leaving and where it is. And one of the good things about Colombia, when you think about maybe your first leap out of the United States, is that you got one, we're on the same time zone half of the year. That's really big because remote work is something that most people, when they come to move out, they're going to have to be aware of, like, hey, how do you make money? The digital nomad visa, which we'll get into, you definitely have to work remotely. So that is a concern when you talk about time frame. 9 to 5, most people are on that schedule. Colombia is a place for that to be able to be fruitful. Eastern time, most of the time. I think Central time, the other half of the year. Uh, proximity. Proximity is important. We have a number of direct flights. I think Orlando, New York, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and they are continuing to expand both direct flights and flight options to Colombia, so you can get home easy.
Yeah.
And biggest thing, cost of living from a United States perspective, it is relatively cheaper. We were in the story, Daniel. I don't know if anybody caught that earlier, but we did some lives, and what was in there was we went to the local market, and anybody that likes fruit, they were able to see things that in America, whew, I think a pound of strawberries was I think it was about 50 cents USD, a pound of strawberries, and we tasted so many of the different Colombian fruits that aren't available in the United States. It was a unique experience. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
interesting, no? I know, I've seen it, and I think that I personally think that we're now living in times where or when um, your job location, your families, and where you have more freedom of that. Um, You have more freedom of that, and Colombia, of course, is an excellent opportunity when approached to it carefully and informed. Like it is very useful. Like in any place, if I were to move to the United States, of course, I will also be using information about housing, about visas, about general day-to-day basics. It helps a lot and saves you a lot of time when you're new in a new place. A recommendation can save you a lot of headaches.
No, seriously. Like I said, I call it the hookup, and that's as real as it can get. You definitely need a hookup when
I
coming
bet.
here to make it a little bit easier for you. Somebody that knows someone. Um,
Yes.
that is important, and that's why we're having this conversation. Daniel helped me through two visa processes here, as far as with the digital nomad visa. He helps with all types of things, and I will definitely let Daniel. Please, Daniel, tell us a little bit about who you are, your firm, what you
Yes.
guys specialize in, and how you guys can be assistance to the people that are looking to come.
Sure, sure. Thanks. Well, my name is Daniel, Daniel Luque. I'm a Colombian attorney. I was born here in Medellin. My specialty is immigration law and private law. Yes, that includes visas and nationality for all Colombian. Mainly for focus on the Colombian visas and market. And private law that comprehends real estate, lease agreements, purchase of property, HOAs conflicts with homeowners administrations and contracts between private parties. That also includes business incorporation and some other commercial law things. Also, family laws. We do prenuptial agreements, wills, and trusts. We've seen a lot of foreigners moving here, and we have become sort of a part of the community um, that are looking to relocate. We have had a lot of experience with the senior citizens that are looking to relocate. They received a pension. They were either living in Costa Rica or in Panama,
Yeah.
and they started to move a little bit southward.
Mhm.
And I work at Capital M. It's a law firm that I founded along with my wife and partner. I'm very lucky because my wife is also my partner at the law firm. She's a very smart lawyer, Maria Fernanda. And we have other two assistants, and we deal mainly with individuals, not much with companies, but a lot of international individuals that need guidance in visas, prenuptial agreements, buying property, maybe reviewing a contract with the locals, and if we don't have a specific answer, I have a good network of other attorneys that can also assist in criminal law, labor law, and other cases.
Nah, you talk about your network. We'll be on with the other, excuse me, we'll be on with the other Daniel on Thursday. You talked about buying properties. There's a lot of ways to come to Colombia, enjoy what Colombia has for you. Um, Work with the local communities. And I think Thursday we'll be on with Daniel, who helps people that do not live here buy properties and navigates them. And then he works with this Daniel to be able to, pair those things together. So we
Ah,
definitely,
with Daniel Paul.
yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
okay, great.
Yeah, I connected with him, so I appreciate you with that because we're putting this piece together on all of the different ways that people can or maybe looking to move. People with kids, people that are veterans, people that are looking to buy property, people that are saying, hey, I want to stay here for a little while, but realistically, I just want to come for a good nomad visa. There's We've put together a community of experts to be able to help you with that, so you don't have to kind of figure it out. Because once I when I got here, I don't even remember how I found you, but I'm so thankful for whoever recommended you because it would have been difficult for me because I just don't have the time to become affluent in all of the steps that change with moving to Colombia or looking to get a visa. So, appreciated of that. And it kind of leads us into our first question, Daniel. What are some of the benefits? A lot of people are DIYers, which is a do it yourself. I'm gonna go look it up and I'll go research and everything else, but why would somebody actually want to work with a lawyer versus doing it themselves? What are the benefits in it?
Well, essentially, I would say time and experience is the same as with a lot of other processes. It is important to know that for a visa, it is not mandatory to have an attorney, a licensed attorney represent you. Yes, and in some cases, people do with especially with Spanish fluency. Um, can manage to go through the process by themselves. But there are a couple of things to consider. One is that the Colombian administration and the Colombian government is not as user friendly as first world countries. Yes, it's not as the US government that you have thorough and consistent guidelines and consistent rules for a specific process. In some cases here, you just have to know from previous experiences. What happens if your visa gets requested for additional information? What happens if if the payment doesn't show in the system? What happens if you're running out of time? What happens if um, what are they meaning what they mean, or what? Yes, it's a lot of translation and interpretation. For example, for the digital nomad visa, you have a general rule that says, yes, this is for remote workers. Yes. But then you go to the fine print and says, you have to carefully read that there are four ways that most people don't know. There is one way to apply for the digital nomad visa that most people don't know. That's the digital entrepreneurs. That's having a project, a tech-based project, yes, a tech-based project to perform national of national interest project in Colombia. The other one are more known as an employee. Could be fairly easy, but you have to know the differences of employment between America and Colombia. Our labor law regulations are very different. In the United States, for example, most people don't get a written contract, right? And so on. I mean, for every step of the process, we have spotted a lot of things that can go wrong, and
Yeah.
in those cases, you want to have a someone who has done it a lot of times successfully. We proudly can say that we have processed more than 200 digital nomad visas over the past year. So yeah, we have gained a lot of insights in different scenarios with beneficiaries, with small kids, elder people, with special professions, and not so common, and it's been quite an experience. Um, and I don't know if you want to discuss some details of the
Yeah,
visa.
let's definitely discuss some details. But before we get into the details, I just because like I said, I know there is a big community of DIYers. I am going to do it myself. Tell me, like, if I did it myself and I thought I did everything right and I got denied, what would happen? Would I be able to reapply? Would I have to spend the exact same amount of money? Like, what does that look like?
Yes, when it doesn't go when it doesn't go through smoothly,
Mhm.
it can backfire heavily. Yes. For example, a visa denial implies that you have 30 days to leave the country, and the next visa application must be from your home country 6 months later. Yes. Of course, some people can tweak a little bit that, but that's a heavy consequence. If you overstay for 1 to 30 days, when you get your visa and admitted or rejected, it is probable that you will um, run out of time. Yes,
Mm.
because these processes are long. Say you were here in Colombia for 90 days, you did your extension. A lot of people do their extension by themselves. That's not a problem. They get 90 days more, and they start doing their visa process 30 days before the permit expires. So when they get a negative response with only 5 days before their total days expire, if they didn't have a plan B, it's gonna cost a lot of money because they have to book flights, last minute flights, find accommodation, or find somewhere to stay for 3, 4, 5 weeks, who knows how much in the US or in another country. And those unexpected plans can be a couple $1,000 easily. Um, then, of course, there are some rules of overstaying that are important to know.
Yeah.
Some people feel people know is, for example, that if you overstay your tourist permits or your days in Colombia, uh, the default sanction is that you get expelled or deported. Okay, but in some case, yeah, that is what the rule says. But in some cases, or what the Migración Colombia officers do, is that they can convert it to a fine, to an economical fine, which ranges between 1.6 million Colombian pesos to up to 9 million Colombian pesos. And they pay the fine, they get a salvoconducto. We can talk about that later, and we and reapply or find another way. But I mean, in our office, we've seen some cases of expulsions and uh, deportations, which is a very, very strong sanction. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, that's why I decided to go with a lawyer because I was just like, I don't do this. I didn't want to be denied. And one of the questions in the comments was, what are there some like normal reasons why people get denied? Is it like it could be anything? What do you see on your end? Excuse me.
Right, and we've seen that with American citizens. I mean, depending on the country of origin, there are different policies. Yes, it is not the same the treatment that the Colombian government gives the American citizens as the treatment they give to people from Guatemala or from some European countries. It changes, right? I'm gonna talk here about the American citizens. With the American citizens, I've seen that more than 90% of the people who apply following the rules get approved. Yes, so the denials are quite an exception. Why do the denials come? They come mainly because the lack of technique in the visa application. That means applying too late, applying before a different consulate or a different office where they should be applying. And of course, there's the details and the documentation. That's the apostille, vigency, the official translation, the health insurance, vigency, the required documents are often, quite often, they get rejected because um, because they lack formality. But the big source of denials is the lack of consistency. The lack of consistency means that, for example, you're, I don't know, 50 years old. Yes,
Mhm.
you're 50 years old and you're a veteran from the US military, and you receive a pension, and but you also have an investment in crypto, and and you also have a side project that gives you money, right?
Mhm.
And you have your own company, so you say, I'm gonna apply for the digital nomad visa. Yes. And after you forget to pay, for example, after 10 days, so the application falls. And then you say, no, you see, I'm going to apply now for the retirement visa because I'm a retired veteran. And then the visa authorities, they receive contradictory information. They, from one side, you're saying that you're going to be working remotely, and then you say
Yeah.
that you're already retired. So
Yeah.
what's your story?
Yeah. Yeah, and they run through it almost like with like a very fine tooth comb. They're very, if you're sitting in one thing and you get denied on that, but you've got four other things. So even having a conversation with somebody like yourself and considering not only, you know what I think when it comes down to what visa it is that you want. I think it comes down to what your ultimate goal is. If you're looking to move and live for a long term and build life in a place, there are visas that have a residency, like there's a path to that. Whereas
Yes.
other visas, there's no path to residency. It just gives you time in the country. And can you kind of go into that and like what the ones that are for the people that are like, hey, I just want to test it out versus the people that may be looking to retire or say like, hey, I know Colombia is the place. I want to be here long term. And how do I do that?
Exactly. No, you're right. And there are around 46, 47 visa categories and three main visa types. That's the visitor type, the migrant type, the resident type. And only people can get the citizenship, the Colombian citizenship, through the visa path by accruing time under a resident visa, and you can only get the resident visa by accruing time under a migrant visa. But wait, Erica Wilk asked, why do people get denied? Okay, we answered
Yeah, you
some
got
of that. I will tell Erica, look, remember there are two kinds of, or three kinds of denial, right? One is the most common is called inadmisión, right? And inadmisión means your application has been deemed inadmissible, right? And that means that you can apply the next day. So that is not a problem. That is normally because you're missing one backing statements, or you're missing, or the photograph was a little bit blurry and they ask you for complementary information and that you didn't provide. So they archive your visa application. And then there is the denial, that is the negación. That was the one I was mentioning before, that implies not being able to apply for a Colombian visa for 6 months. Yes. Um, so now coming back to the topic of the path towards residency, and the plans of how long am I going to be in Colombia and what am I going to do in Colombia.
it.
Those are the two main definitions of uh, which visa category suits you. If you're in love, if you have a Colombian partner, and do you want to spend time with them, you have two options. You can either choose the civil union visa or the marriage visa. That's a very popular visa category. Yeah, but those both are, but they are very different. The civil union is like a common law marriage in the US. It's a de facto situation where two people, um, a straight or gay or homosexual or heterosexual couple, can live together, um, but not plural, like not polygamous relationships, and they can apply not getting by not and not getting married. They just have to declare their situation before a notary, wait 1 year, and after 1 year they can apply for a civil union visa
So
and the marriage
heads
visa.
up, heads up, everybody. That's similar in the United States to like a domestic partnership. So if you've been with somebody and everything else for a while, you may be able to share benefits. So to the LGBTQIA community, Colombia has you in mind with those things. If that is one of your concerns when moving, what the temperature is like there, it's a little different temperature than America. I'll let you go on. I just wanted to kind of like make sure that they knew like exactly what you were saying with, this is like exactly like domestic partnership, and gay marriage is actually legal here.
Yes, exactly. Gay marriages are legal here, and same-sex partnerships are legal here, and of course, traditional um partnerships are also common. Um, there's a question here. So wait, you're married if you get this visa in Colombia?
I think she means things. I think the answer to that question is you have to marry. If you come here and you are in a domestic partnership with a Colombian, this is one of the routes that you can go.
Exactly.
Not like if you are two foreigners and want to go the civil route. I don't think it's the same thing.
Yes, exactly. We there are big differences, and one of the main sources of, if you get this visa in Colombia, you're married. No, well, I think that your question is if you are under a civil union or domestic partnership is the same as being married um, in Colombia. If that is the question, the answer is no. If you're in a civil union or domestic partnership, your civil status is still single. Um, but there are still a set of rules that of the partnership, and mainly one that concerns a lot of people is like after living for 2 years straight, uh, a conjugal communion gets born in the relationship, and your partner, your Colombian partner, can get a title for up to 50% of everything you've earned during that partnership. Yes, so that's why people are also, depending on how serious they are on the relationship, because it's a big commitment and
Yeah,
it's a lot of money and it's
it's a lot.
USD. Want to know the economical repercussions of the relationships. Yes, we have people here that who were divorced in the US, for example, and have kids in the US, but they found a Colombian partner they want to start living with, and that has a lot of legal repercussions in inheritances rights, for example, for your children in the US, in
Can you
alimony.
repeat that? Because I think we have somebody asking about, the ramifications of, okay, if it doesn't, I'm taking notes. If it doesn't work out with your partner, you said something about they have the right to 50% of what it is that you've made during the partnership. I think that's what it is you said.
Yes, from the day
Be safe.
you start living with someone. Yes,
Y'all be safe.
you start with
That's
you.
all
You
we
met
gotta
someone.
know because this is
You
not something I knew about. And a lot of people come down here and they've been visiting
no.
their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is, and they may say, "Oh, this is a great path," and it's just like you need to know these things. And this is free game. Like this is free advice. This is for you guys to literally jump in and ask questions because it wasn't
Yeah.
set up like this. And I really, Daniel, once again, I just really appreciate it because I'm telling you that he's giving out free game to you guys that is not readily available just off the rip. So please continue, Daniel.
No, yeah. And I think it's very important for everyone to know this. I mean, this should be public knowledge as any law and legal regulation. It should be public and explained by the authorities. But of course, the authorities they don't have tons of resources for this. But now let's let's get back to that quite a bit. I would like to share. I would like to use this space to share you some of the most frequent concerns that expats and Americans have come to us, and one is one of the top 4 or 5 civil civil unions or common law marriages or domestic partnerships. The answer is if you live with someone in Colombia, you find someone in Tinder for and you start dating and you don't get scoped. So a relationship develops and you start living and sharing for 2 years. After 2 years, when you split, for example, in your case, she would be entitled to half of everything you earn during those 2 years, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years, for everything. Yes. And it is like this cases you will see in family courts asking for this. So the solution for that is to sign a prenuptial agreement, and a prenuptial agreement can avoid to to this economical regime to happen, and to keep all the assets and liabilities separated with your Colombian partner. And if you have common projects in common, for example, buying a house, you still can do it and sharing 50-50 if that is your what your heart dictates you, and your generosity. You can, of course, give gifts, but at least knowing that you're doing so. Not that the Colombian civil code that's still valid and is from the 19th century, that's like 200 years ago, will dictate what your assets are. So that's one of the biggest concern people have when applying for this visa category of the common law marriage. And of course the marriage is very similar to that in the US. There are some nuances, but generally speaking is basically the same as with the marriage, also splitting everything 50-50 unless you sign a prenuptial agreement.
And what you gonna say if she not ready for that prenuptial? Might not have no agreement. That is eye opening. You know, I'm not looking to marry anybody from Colombia, but people should know this for certain because there obviously are paths to a lot of ways. This is just one of them, and a lot of people come down here either looking for love or find love. But
It's true.
these
It's
things,
true. And at least, and I think that people should know at least what they're getting into,
mhm,
because of course we are very passionate, and we feel a lot, and sometimes that blurs a lot of things. And I and I've seen that there's a lot of kind of couples, and every couple is different, and every couple have their dynamics towards professions, towards money, towards productivity, but there will also be an underlying economical factor that will be very, very relevant, dramatic, hardcore, because the difference of power acquisition between the US and Colombia is, non-trivial. So if you have, if my invitation, the invitation is discuss that with your partner. If you're planning to move with girlfriend or boyfriend, you want to talk it through, because yes, we as Colombian, we're a very family oriented society, and this kind of stuff is always in our heads. Yes.
yeah, no, and we talked about that on got Colombia behind me. We've talked about that on the last couple of days. With understanding. If you're really serious about moving to Colombia, you should probably start like researching, like tapping in. If you're obviously seeing this, then that means that you're doing at least one step. But like, start learning because Colombia is not America. America is only America, and there's the rest of the world in the sense of like the bubble of America. You'll be surprised what you're going to learn out here and see when you actually get to Colombia.
Exactly.
Um,
It's a
things are
different, very
different.
different culture.
But in the most beautiful ways, though, like Daniel, I've had such a great time connecting with the people. We were in Minorista today, and we were doing the food tour and the shopping tour, and this old guy, he wasn't even like selling us stuff. He just overheard us talking, and he came up to us and was just telling us about the fruit, and it was a story behind it. And he's like, "Yeah, this is good for digestion." He was like really passionate about it, and then we thanked him, and then when we left, he was okay. Bye, guys. See you later. Like it was like you're not going to experience that in America. Like most people
Yeah.
are not going to chat you up and talk to you and everything. So understanding where you're coming from is very important. Where you're coming to, excuse me, is a very important thing. I know we had a question in here about using your business to buy property. I got a lot of, entrepreneur friends. I've got a lot of people that reach out to me talking about investing into Colombia because they assume it's, a lot cheaper than doing so in the United States. Can you kind of shed some light on that and clear maybe some misconceptions up or bring some realities to the table?
Okay, okay, yes, the process of purchasing property is still very attractive in Colombia, still because the prices are very low. Like they are a fraction of what you get in Miami or New York or California. The prices are nowhere to compare. Now, that being said, the process of purchasing a property in Colombia is different than in the US, especially because you have the challenge of an unregulated market of realtors. For example, that will be one of the first challenge you will face, is that the realtors are an unregulated profession, um, and they get paid by the seller. So there is an incentive on the commission within the deal, that is the you as a buyer won't get represented by the real estate agent that you find, because the realtors will often show you the properties they are getting a commission from or sharing a commission with another realtor. Yes. So this generates conflicting interests and conflicting incentives. That what do I mean? And we have done this year probably around 50, 60 purchases of property, and we've seen that one of the challenges is that I've seen that the Americans, they are used to come to these kind of deals with some sort of I will say they're willing to be very accurate on their needs. Like, I want this fridge put in this bedroom, and I want these staircases painted with this exactly these colors, and you will see a cultural shock in there.
Yeah, yeah.
The second, you have to be, in that case, you have to be more flexible. I mean,
That comes with the etiquette that we were talking about. Like the culture is different. We can so Colombia does not go as fast as America. So when you get out of America, you're going to realize the world doesn't go as fast as America and make you think that everybody is moving as fast. So you have to like Daniel is really telling you something that's extremely important, because you can't come here with a American thought process and
yes.
expect to thrive in Colombia. Like when in Rome, do as the Romans
No,
do. Be respectful.
exactly. There's some of a cultural of adaptation, but of course, common sense will prevail. Yes, because yeah, common sense will prevail, because in this sort of transaction of buying property, you will also hear from from the local seller's point of view a lot of customs or uses that we shouldn't be proud of. Yes, we Colombian people, we have a lot of good things, but others that are not so good. We're not perfect, yes. And in the case of dealing, you will see a lot of bargaining, maybe not telling the whole story straight to see if the buyer hooks gets hooked on the sale, on the deal. And then, of course, there's a lot of regulation. You want to now digging deeper. The question was if whether you could use I'm assuming an LLC or a vehicle to buy property in Colombia. The answer is yes, you can do so. You have to get an tax ID though, and you have to register the investment before the central bank. Those processes we assist with in our law firm. And if you're looking for a visa, a migrant visa through real estate purchase, you have to do it under your personal name. Now, in the Colombian market, you will see a lot of new projects because we're still an ongoing developing city, and not so new projects. The recommendation is go for the used ones because they will already have the papers needed for the visa application. A lot of people are catched with the with new projects, like paying every month a couple $100 until you reach a limit, and then you can get a mortgage on top of it and finance the acquisition of the property over the time. Well, that is a good approach. Although you have to check the interest rates of the banks here are maybe 10 times, 5 times than those in America, and that won't be used for the visa. For the visa of by through buying property, there are a couple of tips you have to keep in mind. First, it has to be fully in your own name. It cannot be shared with your partner. Okay. Secondly, you have to register the investment through the central bank before you become tax resident. We have written a couple of articles I can share you later, so you can share to the community. And third, well, there's a lot of more, but use a brokerage account instead of direct bank transfer.
Okay. I see some cryptocurrency, and I know that's a buzzing topic. I think Bitcoin is gonna hit 90,000 in the last couple of days. There's a lot of crypto warriors that are out here looking, to travel and be able to take their investment and do something with it. Do you guys work in any cryptocurrency? Is that available to be able to purchase a property out here?
Not directly through the purchase agreement, but through a swap agreement. It has been done. Yes, a swap agreement is trading a property to another for another movable asset. In this case, a crypto, a token, or coins, or any digital assets that you hold. We have worked with other attorney who specialized in crypto law, and we've been we participated with him in a couple of projects. Um, the things you have to know is that crypto is not a legal currency in Colombia. First, you have to find a workaround on it. It's not like in Salvador. It's not like officially recognized. Second is that you have to find the legal vehicles to do business in crypto with, and you have to know how to convert them to pesos. Yes, and there are official exchange places, and there are unofficial or illegal exchange places.
Got you.
Yeah,
Got you. I'm,
it
I'm
is
not
what it
into
is.
crypto. I just simply want to make sure that the community's answered, questions are answered. And if you guys have any questions, please on any of them. I'm looking at TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, definitely risky. Make certain that you ask them. This is the platform to be able to do so. There's a couple of burning topics that I know that, because we got the people and we cater to a community that is probably looking at remote work, entrepreneurs for certain. One thing, as I had a meeting today, and the woman, she was at retirement age, and she was telling me like, like, hey, like I might be priced out of where I live at now because of the things that have just recently transpired and are probably going to shape up to get possibly a lot worse. Um, what does the retirement situation look like? Because I think I had an older guy tell me, he was like, if I retire, Social Security is going to give me like $1,700 a month. And that might sound good outside of, the United States, but inside the United States, $1,700 a month for one individual it doesn't go very far at all. And a lot of Americans that are in the retirement age that may be looking at this are like genuinely concerned. Social Security seems like it's going to be cut, attacked, whatever the case is. Even if it wasn't, it was never going to be that much, and the cost of things keep going up. So for the people that are retired, what options in Colombia do you guys do they have, and how much does that cost?
Yes, I think the option for retired people is probably one of the best options they could do would be to move to Colombia. One of the reason is that it is very cheap, and with 1700 they can live a pretty good life here. And the second one is the visa application and the immigration process is more straightforward, provided they don't have a lot of criminal records. Um, but a person who receives their pension for over 800, or I mean 900 USD per month, they become eligible to apply for a retirement visa in Colombia that allows them to accrue times toward residency. What are the costs? Well, the application cost, the government fees are 55 US dollars to file the application, and once it gets approved, you have to pay an issuance fee of 270 US dollars. And then you have to take into account the apostille and the translation of the criminal records, federal criminal records. And they will ask you a medical health insurance, and depending on the age, it can get very expensive because we have had some people who are over 85. We're very, very, very proud that my one of my eldest clients, a very, very beautiful lady, was 93 years old from
Wow.
America, and she came with her young son, who was 78 years old.
Yeah, you're young, son. That man is a grown man.
And they came by themselves to Medellin because they wanted more tropical sunny weather. I mean, they were very brave, and they have gathered in their own community. They're very safe. They do can see them here in Laureles. Live here in Laureles. Doing lunch, cinema, outside activities. They get the medical services are very, very good
Yeah.
here in Colombia. Um, so yes, basically, with that amount of money, 1,700. Um, they can live a very upper class lifestyle in Colombia.
So you said that they have to be able to show that they make $900 a month. And anybody that uh most of my community is not at the age of retirement. If any of my family members are on here, they probably are like I am. But just consider this, like even just sharing it. We'll put this up for certain because it's an important conversation so that you guys can see it. But make sure they come back to this because when you hear that it's only going to take you $900 a month, if you were to come out here and retire, you still got great proximity to the United States, be able to see your grandkids come see you, those
Good
kind of
health
things.
care.
In healthcare, yeah, the healthcare. So a lot of people don't know. So American healthcare is a nightmare. Um, Back in the States, I go to, I went, so I have contacts, I wear glasses, and I have eye insurance. Get a free eye exam. Glasses, cool, no problem. But if you wear contacts, the eye exam is completely separate. So now I pay $85 out of pocket, even though I have eye insurance, just for one visit. Whereas here in Colombia, I've gotten sick, dog has gotten sick, costs $40 somebody to come in your house, prescribe medicine for you that you don't even have to leave. The people met a lot more medicines are like deregulated, where like they're behind like a paywall and or a whole person. And you have to see a pharmacist. The healthcare options for people that are worried about if something happens or I have ailments. Uh, it pales. It just blows America away, and it's just like is this what it means that a government cares about the people that are their citizens? Because you will have access to this, and that's why I see so many vets that are coming out here because they're in that. I have the retirement scenario going, and then the VA is a nightmare in the United States. So a lot more people are starting to realistically like look at this and you could probably help somebody out, even if it's not you. An older person that may be starting to look at the bottom line and how much things cost in America, and they're on a fixed income, and the income is fixed, but the grocery prices, the gas prices are not. Like, so just make certain that if this can't help you, like, let it help somebody else, share it with your community, because a lot of people are really like concerned what they may do if prices rise and their wages don't.
Exactly. No, the inflation is hitting a lot of homes very, very hard, and it's good to it's good to know that there are some options now. Still, for the interesting thing here, I would say, is that you have options for a different range of ages and interests. For example, the crypto community in Medellin is quite big. We participated in a couple of events, and young people, 20 to 30, from all over the world, doing businesses here, projects. We've seen very interesting crypto projects with NFTs for real estate development, for the music entertainment industry, hotels, tourism, discotheques, so on. Then you see families, yes, families with small children, 3, 4 year old kids, also having them learn Spanish and the wife and husband are working remotely. That's another option. A lot of remote workers going to the co-working by day and having exploring the city by night. Then you have other people who are more like 40, 50. They are the the most people who buy properties for them to live or either to invest. And then you have the retirees. So I would say you could see now a community ranging from 0 to 99 years old.
Nah, that's definitely real. You mentioned something with the kids, because I did not have children. Got dogs, had it for a long time, but I did not have a child. And I know that there are a lot of people like you. Never mind, if they were by themselves and they were single, they may be considering this move. But they're like, what is, how do you move a kid? How do they get a visa? What is that process look like? Do you guys help with, people looking to move their families out to Colombia?
Yes, yes, we have a lot helped a lot of families with their moving, and it all depends. Like the most crucial part of it is depends on of the custody and the guardianship of the children. If it is a separated couple, you have to check that the guardianship or the yes, the custody of the kid is on the applicant's name of the foreigner who is living in Colombia. If not, we also have assisted some people from Chile, Spain, Netherlands, and UK, and of course America to fix those things at home so they can bring the kids safely here. They will be applying for a beneficiary visa, which gets applied for only after the main applicant's visa gets approved. And yeah, it's a common thing that can happen, and but of course there are some legalities that need to be checked. For example, the birth certificates need to get apostilled as well, and they need to be in certain time frame. um, if the one of the mother, for example, if the we have a case, the mother of the child had passed away, and so we needed to get the death certificate, and have it translated and recognized in Colombia for the kid to get a visa and to get enrolled in school. Because the visa is not only the visa is your foreign ID card, your cédula extranjería, and with that ID
Yeah.
card, you will be using it quite often or not.
Yeah. They like once you get it, it feels like you like because everywhere you go, they'll ask you for that.
Yeah.
Like in Colombia for certain, like in Medellin, I'm not certain. Like I don't feel like it's much in Cartagena, but in Medellin, like if you go to a bowling alley, you want to make a reservation. Matter of fact, yeah, in Cartagena, because when I want to make a reservation, they're like, "What's your ID number?" So those are things. I mean, you'll be fine if you happen to be here on a tourist visa and not, have actual longer term visa. But all things to consider. We are going to be continuing to have these conversations. I saw something about healthcare. If I have dual citizenship in Panama, would I need to declare the U.S. in Panama? That is, yeah, that's got to be Virginia.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
If I have dual citizenship in Panama, would I need to declare the U.S. in Panama?
The U.S. in Panama. Well, um, yes. Well, if as a U.S. citizen, you're taxed worldwide. Yes. It's not
Yep.
based on the it's not based on the residency. It's based on the citizenship. And in Panama, well, they have their special taxation system that's quite similar to Colombia. I can only talk about the Colombian tax system. And that is another important tip for the community, the taxman, the Colombian taxman. You can get you can get a tax credit from the taxes paid abroad. That's what most people do. You still have to
Keep your receipts.
file and declare it in the United States. So bring that tax declaration to Colombia in case through your bank statements and your transactions are obliged to declare. Yes, the taxation system here works like this. After 183 days in any continuous or discontinuous days in a 1 year period, you become tax resident, Colombian tax resident, and when you're tax resident, you are obliged to report your income worldwide. Yes, when you declare your income in the United States, that can trigger a big tax, but you can deduct it through everything you've paid in the US.
So it's like somebody needs to book a call with you, Daniel. For certain. Um, well, that's the best thing. We are not gatekeepers. Obviously, we're here having conversations, free information. You guys go to moodtravelcolombia.com. You guys will not only learn a little bit more about Daniel, see all the free resources that we have there, but Daniel's contact information is on there. So you can get in contact with him, book a session, book an appointment to have this conversation and further. We will continue to bring our experts on that are designed to help you have Q&As, help you realistically get feedback on what you're thinking on the move to Colombia, potentially. We've got our relocation tour coming up. We've got our first March date. March, I believe it's the 12th through the 17th. You guys will have the ability to come to Medellin and literally live like a local, go to different neighborhoods, meet with Daniel and other experts in a half-day seminar that we have that's designed to help take all the hassle out. Like, make this a lot easier than, a lot of us have had it. So I'm looking forward to that, looking forward to continued conversations, resource and information sharing with everyone. And I will see you tomorrow. And you guys are going to see a lot of me and Michelet. We're going to continue to put out real content that is not, it's not meant to go viral. It's meant to hit you in the heart and realize, hey, this could be realistically something that can be a part about my life. I moved to Colombia after some things went weird, and there were people there that were waiting for me to 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 help me to be able to kind of like ease the transition. So I appreciate it, Daniel. You are a godsend. Thank you for helping me being able to, continue my best life out here in Colombia. And I look forward to continued conversations. Please come visit us. Like I said, our first opportunity to do that is in March. And we will see from there, because who knows? I think a lot of people after the inauguration are going to be like, all right, this is enough. And we'll probably
It's
go about getting a couple of more of those relocation tours. We're shouting out to we've got
great.
Medellin, we have Cartagena, and shout out to our king, Live Be Do. We'll be doing Cali as well. So you'll have multiple and different places to go to Colombia and see all of the different opportunities. And the experts will be in each city to welcome you, greet you, and show you around. Um, you guys got some good things coming. I got some special guests that you might know, but you will see soon. So I will see everybody tomorrow. Tune in for certain at 3 o'clock. Might go live. So put your notifications on, because if you miss the information, you have to catch up on it. Other than that, I will see everybody later. Daniel, you have a great night. Once again, if you have any more questions for Daniel, need any more information, moodtravelcolombia.com. Go there, go to our experts tab, scroll around our experts, see what they do. Daniel was on there. His information is there. Reach out to him.
Thank
You
you.
got anything
Thank
for me,
you, Roger.
Daniel?
Thank you very much, man. Take care, and if you have any other question, just reach out to you and you let me know. Okay.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see y'all soon. I'll take it easy. Have a good night.
Good night, man.